And welcome to The Lead. I'm Pamela Brown in for Jake Tapper on this Friday. And we begin today with breaking news. Minutes ago, President Biden unveiled more of his plan to help ease the economic pain many Americans are feeling during this pandemic right now. Biden signed two executive orders, one focused on expanding assistance to Americans in need, and another that lays the groundwork to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour for federal workers. President Biden is also proposing Congress pass a $1.9 trillion relief plan, but as CNN's Phil Mattingly reports, that will take more maneuvering than just the stroke of a pen.
We need more action, and we need to move fast.
President Joe Biden, in his second full day in office, zeroing in on the second major crisis facing his administration, a teetering economy.
So now is a moment not to undershoot or to wait and see. Now is a moment to act.
With new weekly unemployment claims still hovering just shy of 1 million, Biden unveiling a pair of executive orders. One that would expand food assistance, speed up distribution of stimulus checks, and expand eligibility for unemployment benefits for workers who refuse jobs due to unsafe working conditions.
We're in a national emergency. We need to act like we're in a national emergency. So we've got to move with everything we've got. And we've got to do it together.
And one that lays the groundwork for a $15 minimum wage for federal workers. The executive orders capping a week of more than 24 actions to try and ramp up or completely reverse his predecessor's efforts to deal with the same issues. But as the White House grapples with a cascade of economic and public health crises, concern that its sweeping $1.9 trillion stimulus proposal has already run into partisan roadblocks, with conservatives and moderate Republicans alike blanching at the price tag. The White House, despite its flurry of executive actions, remains unbowed in its push.
We're at a precarious moment for the virus and the economy. Without decisive action, we risk falling into a very serious economic hole, even more serious than the crisis we find ourselves in.
But it's an immediate and potentially seismic challenge for a president who has made clear that bipartisanship is his preferred route. Still, a signal that some of the logjam is starting to break on at least one issue, the president's cabinet. Retired General Lloyd Austin confirmed as defense secretary, the first black leader of the Pentagon in U.S. history, with Democrats saying Janet Yellen and Antony Blinken, Biden's picks for Treasury and the State Department, will follow in short order. A team coming together as the stakes only get higher by the day.
We have the tools to get through this. We have the tools to get this virus under control and our economy back on track. And we have the tools to help people. So let's use the tools. All of them. Use them now.
And Pamela, there's been a lot of talk all week about how many different issues the president has reversed from his predecessor, but one that the White House is not paying any attention to, the color scheme of Air Force One. You'll remember quite well President Trump made a big show of shifting the color scheme, or at least proposing to. Jen Psaki, the White House press secretary today, confirming the president himself has not spent a moment thinking about the color scheme, and no decisional memos are expected to be submitted on that color scheme. So the color scheme, not a focus of the White House. The economy, coronavirus, that is where they're focused right now, Pamela.
Yeah, she made that very clear. That is not where the focus is. All right, nice soundtrack there in the background, Phil Mattingly. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. All right, so let's talk about all of this. We have Dana here and Abby. Great to see you, ladies. Let's jump right into it because we just heard from President Biden talking about this $1.9 trillion relief package. Here was his pitch he made in the last hour. Let's listen.
President Trump's top former economic advisor, Kevin Hassett, said, quote, he absolutely is in favor of this rescue plan. This almost doesn't have a partisan piece to it.
But Abby, President Biden is already facing some resistance.
Yeah, and I think he will continue to face resistance. I mean, look, there are a lot of Republicans who just don't want to spend more money right now. And I think some will point out that that's somewhat hypocritical, considering that's not really been a concern in the last 4 years. But a $1.9 trillion price tag, I think Biden knows that's a big price tag. But what he's trying to build consensus on is the building blocks of that price tag, which is, you know, economic relief for individuals and for for businesses and for vaccine distribution and for testing. And I think the White House believes that if they can build support for those things, there's no reason that Congress can't come up to some kind of agreement on a larger package, whether it ends up being $1.9 trillion. I think that's probably unlikely, but, you know, something is possible for sure.
Yeah, and our reporting is that those in the Biden administration know that it's unlikely. This is up for negotiation, right? It's a test for the Biden administration. It's also a test, though, for Republicans. Will they, once again, will we see them become sort of the party of resistance like they were under the Obama years, or will they suddenly start working with Joe Biden? What do you think?
It really is the question, Pamela, because, you know, we did see 12 years ago, Mitch McConnell, you know, famously say that President Obama would be a one-term president. That was their goal. I mean, it was in a specific context, but it was certainly taken to be more broad, and that is, in a lot of ways, how Republicans acted and reacted to a lot of his proposals. Very, very different time. The Biden administration had a Congress with huge supermajorities in the Senate and in the House, and that's just not the case today, A. B, you actually have not just President Biden and the people around him, but also some senior Republicans who think it is in their best interest, given the times, given everything that we have behind us now, to come up with some bipartisan solutions. I just had one Republican senator I was talking to before coming on with you saying, and this is not a moderate, saying, we have to prove that we can govern. We can't act like we did 12 years ago, or we are never going to win back the Senate, never mind the White House, in 4 years.
And of course, all of this is against the backdrop, Abby, of the Senate trial that we expect could begin next week. And Mitch McConnell has put forward this February timeline. Here's what President Biden had to say about that today.
I haven't heard the detail of it, but I do think that having some time to get our administration up and running, I want to thank the Senate for passing out our Secretary of Defense. Looks like our Secretary of Treasury. Looks like our Secretary of State's in place. So the more time we have to get up and running and meet these crises, the better.
But then you have this dynamic of the articles of impeachment from the House going over on Monday. So what's going on here? What can we expect, Abby?
Well, the articles of impeachment are going over, but there's still room, even if they go over on Monday, for Republicans and Democrats in the Senate to come to an agreement about when the trial will begin. And it's very important that Biden seemed open to this. You know, when Senator Chris Coons first floated this idea, the interest in this idea a couple of days ago with Wolf on our air, it seemed to be a pretty clear sign that at least some people in the Biden orbit believe that this might work out as a good compromise. And, you know, there were initially some ideas that it could be 100 days, but 2 weeks or even 3 weeks is a much more modest amount of time to allow some of these cabinet nominees to be confirmed, but also still have a relatively speedy Senate trial, but also notably to deal with a major concern that some Republicans have been bringing up, which is that President Trump might not get the due process that he deserves. It gives him some time to put together his legal team, to figure out his legal arguments, and it probably takes that argument off the table for some Republicans who had been relying on that to oppose an impeachment trial in the first place.
What do you think? I mean, hearing that from Biden, do you think it sounds like he's agreeing with Mitch McConnell on the timeline?
Yes, it does. It absolutely does. You know, it's going to be, it is, as we speak, a negotiation happening between Chuck Schumer, the incoming Senate Majority Leader, and I guess currently the Senate Majority Leader, and Mitch McConnell. But of course, the Biden administration has a heavy hand in the decision-making process because of what Abby just laid out. They want they need their cabinet in place in order to function and to do the things that they need to do beyond the executive orders that the president has been signing for the past few days. So no question about that. I mean, the other issue, once that gets started, is what happens, how quickly how long it takes. And we have reporting from our excellent Hill team. I have talked to Republicans more and more over the past few days who say that the notion that President Trump would actually be convicted is shrinking by the day. 17 Republicans would have to agree to that. And just with the argument that some people who are in President Trump's camp are making, that it's unconstitutional to convict somebody who's not even in the White House anymore because it's unprecedented. We don't know what is and isn't necessarily constitutional, but that seems to be something that those Republicans on the fence are listening to.